as you exhale, let go of another false identification, another anger, another grudge, another pain, another story that you tell yourself about who you think you are. Just let it all go gently and slowly as you exhale. Give it all back to the universe and allow yourself to just sink deeper and deeper. Slowly and gently, bring the palms of your hands together at chest level in Namaste. And gently rub the palms of your hands against each other. Slowly press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. Slowly and gently lower the hands and open your eyes. Welcome. Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with all of you. We begin Satsang with a question that comes in from our family joining us from all over the world through this beautiful gift of technology. And then we open it up to any questions that anyone here has. There's a microphone in the center of the room, so don't be shy. Come up and share your name, share where you're from, and then you can ask your question. But starting with one that's come in advance. In my marriage, a very personal question, so I won't read the name that sent it in. In my marriage, sexuality is reduced to more or less 0. At first I struggled, feeling that I wasn't wanted, and so on. But I wonder what the lesson might be for me, and how to embrace it, and to grow, to expand. What is it that can flow through me into our marriage and into the world around me? And why is this such a huge topic for me? So this was asked by a sister of ours via Instagram, but usually we share the names of who's asked it, but I just have a feeling that somehow she would prefer me not to share. This is actually more of a common issue than people realize. There's 100 reasons for it. But it's interesting, what she's asking is something really beautiful. She's not saying, how can I convince my husband to, give me more sex? What she's saying is, what's my lesson? How do I embrace this? How do I grow to expand? Not like, could you please wave a magic wand and make him be different? But she's asking really beautiful questions. What is it that can flow through me into our marriage and into the world around me? And it's a really beautiful way of taking these sorts of frustrations that arise in our lives that are not necessarily exactly the dream vision that we had. We think our marriage is going to be different. We think, oh, it'll be like this, it'll be like that. And then it turns out to be different. And in her case, it turned out to, what she doesn't mention is whether it's the beginning of their marriage or they've been married for decades. But in either case, it's the sexuality is reduced to more or less zero. And we don't know, did they have decades in one way and now it's different, or has it been like this from the beginning? But either way, she's struggling. It's a challenge. And this is a challenge that so many men and women go through. It's something I hear so frequently. We have this fantasy. I'm going to be married. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful romance. It's going to be beautiful emotionally. It's going to be beautiful sexually. It's going to be ecstatic and passionate. And it's going to be beautiful spiritually. We'll meditate together. And almost always, one of those three isn't there. If you've got a partner in which there's fulfillment on all of those levels, not just are you very blessed, but you're very rare. In almost every relationship, at least one of those levels, the spiritual level, the emotional level, or the physical sexual level, there's a sense of, oh, I wish it could be different. There's lots of marriages where the sex is great, but the spiritual person wishes that the other one would meditate. Why is he not spiritual? Why is she not spiritual? Why don't they want to come to Kirtan? Why don't they want to go to Satsang? And sometimes it's on the emotional level that there's that sense of lack. I want my wife or I want my husband to be my best friend. I want them to be interested in the things that I'm interested in. I want them to be emotionally available in the way that I want. And they're not. And one of the most important lessons in a marriage is the same lesson about everything in life, which is it's a package deal. It's a package deal. There's going to be parts of the package that are wonderful and fantastic. And there's going to be parts that you wish you could change. But the dilemma arises when we get into our head this idea that rather than being a package deal, it's a buffet, and that we should be able to just say, take this away and give me extras of this. And it's not like that. It's a package deal. And so in this case, she's really asking the right questions. Not, how do I change this in my husband, but how do I expand? And the expansion arises in this case, because the question is around sex, the expansion arises to, okay, well, you say, all right, God, I guess whether they've had, 5 years or 5 months or 5 days or 50 years of a happy sex life before she sent this question in, whether it was 5 days or 5 hours or 50 years. It's now essentially, okay, God, I guess that part's over. I guess now this marriage is no longer going to have this, or no longer going to have it as much as I'd like it, or the way that I'd like it. Okay. What am I supposed to be learning, growing, expanding? Well, the lesson is obviously around what are ways in the relationship of connecting? Because so frequently in our relationships, in our romantic relationships, we relegate all of connection, all of our expression of love into sexuality. And if that's not there, it's actually a really interesting opportunity to say, well, okay, so how can I express my love for him? How can I know that he loves me? How can we come together in a way that's deeper than the body, that's deeper than the physical expression of it? How can we unite on a level of spirit rather than just a level of body? And it's an interesting opportunity because usually these questions arise when we consciously and purposely, later in life, move away from the grihastha ashram, the householder phase, into vanprastha ashram, into sannyasa ashram, into these phases of life that are meant to be much more spiritual, much less physical, on every level. Not just sexual, but much less attachment to the family, less engagement in work, in the world, much more focused on or certainly not like a very later phase. But it's an interesting and very beautiful opportunity. Okay, God, I'm clearly given a message that the relationship, the connection with my husband, and my focus and my attention is meant to be much more spiritual. Because if the relationship anyway is not going to be sexual, well, then there's no point like dressing up for him, trying to look sexy, buying, new nightwear. If you know that there's not going to be any of that anyway, well, then what's the point, right? So you get to take all that time and energy and attention and focus it somewhere else. Focus it on spirit. Focus it on soul. So take this. I'm actually very, very impressed by the way she asked the question. What's the lesson? The lesson is shift your identification of self. Because she said, it was the same thing that would happen to all of us. She said, at first I struggled, feeling that I wasn't wanted. And this is the initial experience that almost all of us would have in a case like that. What is wrong with me? If I were beautiful, attractive, desirable, then he would want me. And when you realize it's not actually about that, it allows you to drop into a place that is a very powerful place of what is it about me other than my physical body and my sexuality that is desirable. And for a lot of us as women, that's a really important question to learn to ask in our lives, because far too many of us spend far too much time in our life self-identifying as our physical bodies, as how do we appear to members of the opposite sex or members of the same sex, depending on our inclinations. Far too much time spent on looking in mirrors and judging our value by what we look like. The size, the shape, the clothes. And an opportunity like this says, he's not divorcing you. He's not leaving you. He's not rejecting you. It's just going to be, for whatever reason that she hasn't described, essentially sexless marriage. Okay, here we go. Let it be about spirit. Let it be about soul. Let it be about a deeper connection. What an opportunity to see yourself on a different level, to see the other on a different level. Take it like that. Yeah, it's a physical, biochemical hunger that will not be satisfied. And you acknowledge that. Here we go. It's part of the package deal of your life. And take that energy. There's very, very powerful meditative practices that I was given actually in early days of my sannyas Very powerful meditative practices of taking that energy and actually carrying it upward. So it's not about suppressing it. It's not about, oh, you're bad, you're wrong, you're dirty, you're sinful, all the things that our mind tells us. It's biological, it's biochemical. Every single one of us is here because our parents and our grandparents and all of our ancestors had that same biochemical impulse. If they didn't, we wouldn't be here. So there's nothing sinful or wrong or dirty or bad about the impulse. But we have a choice with what we do with it. And if you're in a situation, even a monogamous relationship where it doesn't exist, okay. So when the energy arises, carry it very deliberately, very meditatively. Allow it to rise. Bring it into your heart. Let the heart expand in love. It's an energy of union. Let it rise into your heart. Let it expand in your heart until you can feel that union, that love, that oneness, that merging. Not just with one. With the Supreme Soul. That ultimate think drop merges with ocean. It's the pull that makes every drop of water on planet Earth go down. We can call it gravity, but that's just a word that describes a phenomenon that existed long before the word existed. Long before an apple fell on Newton's head, all of the water on planet Earth was heading back down into the ocean. That same type of powerful energy is bringing our individual soul back into divine union. It is why, by the way, being in love feels so good. Because in that love, the emotional love, the spiritual love, even the sexual ecstasy, in that moment, I lose the sense of where I end and you begin. And in that moment, I've gone from being an individual who is separate from the rest of the world into a melted, merged, expansive experience. It's why we love being in love so much, because it gives us that experience. And interestingly, one of the questions that arises frequently is around the difference between love and lust, or love and attachment. And the way that I always describe it is whether it's lust or whether it's attachment, it causes us to contract. It's all about, I need it, I need it, I need it, I need it, I need it. Love is all about expansion. And it's why the words that we use to describe love, right? People talk about fireworks, oceans, melting, merging, right? Nobody ever talks about, oh, I'm in this box of love. Because love doesn't box you. We talk about oceans because it's expansive. So deeply loving another being, as essence, whether it's a romantic partner, whether it's a child, whether it's a parent, whether it's a grandparent, whoever it may be, but deeply loving that being connects you through that being to soul. Because you're expanding. In that love, you are losing a sense of a separate, physical, bordered, boundaried, individual, separate existence. And you're merging into an experience of oneness. Now, it's oneness with just one other being, but it's a portal into oneness with all. That is what our soul is looking for, is ultimately the freedom from the ignorance and the illusion that says, I'm this physical body, I'm this story, I'm this drama, I'm separate, I'm individual. That's what it wants. Now, on our karmic journeys, there are different situations, different circumstances, therefore different people, who are going to give us the lessons that we need, the experiences that we need to have the full expansion, the freedom, the liberation, the realization, the awakening that we're here to have. And if you want to talk about a being like that as a soulmate, sure. The being through whom my individual soul experiences a sense of union with a greater, vaster, bigger experience of soul, sure. And recognize that the experience is bigger than the two of you. It's an experience through each other rather than just with each other. You are portals through which the other, if you play it right, can actually touch the truth of who you are. But it has to be, therefore, through each other rather than with each other, because if it's with each other, then we get attached to like, why were you late? Why are you talking to me like that? I was in peace and then you came home and you did this, and then we've lost the opportunity. Because then it becomes about story and roles and drama. But if through you, I can experience in a felt sense way that I am not just this individual body, this story, this role, but that there is soul, and that soul is expansive. And even if it's just the first taste of, because it's united with you, because it isn't separate from your soul, then that's a huge portal that's opened up. And then the path becomes, okay, So, of course, in the roles and relationships, staying monogamous with each other and committed, but how can you on a soul level start bringing the creation into this love? How do the trees come in? How do the mountains come in? How does this love start to expand and expand and expand and expand? Because that's ultimately the point. Yeah. Beautiful. Other questions? Yes.
प्रणाम साध्वी जी, मेरा नाम रमेश कुमार है। साध्वी जी, मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ कि क्या हमें एस्ट्रोलॉजी में विश्वास रखना चाहिए? जैसे हमारे साथ कुछ गलत होता है तो हम कहते हैं कि ये हमारे भाग्य में था, तो क्या हमें एस्ट्रोलॉजी में विश्वास करना चाहिए? ये चीज़ें एग्जिस्ट करती हैं? थैंक यू।
Great question. So he asked, should I believe in astrology? He said, you know, when bad things happen to us, we say, oh, it's my fate, it's my destiny. Is that true? So here's my take on astrology, which, if you've been coming to Satsang for a while or watching online, you've probably heard me share before, because it is a question that arises from time to time. My feeling on astrology is actually a scientific feeling. I do believe that it works. I don't believe the horoscopes in the newspaper. I don't believe that everybody born on the same day has the same thing that's happening to them today, that you could say, oh, everybody, born on March 14th like I am, we're all going to have the same type of day today. I don't believe that. But I do believe very strongly that the position of the energies of the universe creates a sense of likelihoods. It creates challenges. It creates opportunities. It creates possibilities or probabilities that are beneficial for us to notice. And here's a very, very simple way of understanding what I'm talking about. If you live on a coast at the ocean, what you know is that every day we have high tide and low tide. But we also know that during the course of a month, based on the moon, the high tide and low tide changes. Where the high tide comes up to today is very different from where the high tide is going to come up to 2 weeks from now. Low tide, high tide, full moons, new moons, waning moons, waxing moons, all of it are interconnected. That which determines how high the water on the shore comes up is the moon. It's the magnetic pull between the moon and the earth. Now that's just science. Our human bodies are between 70 and 90% water. For us to say, yes, the moon can have that much of a huge impact on God knows how many gazillion gallons of water there must be in the ocean, to create a 10, 15, 40-foot difference in the level of the water. But hey, in my body, it doesn't have any impact. It would be ridiculous. Obviously, it's impacting us. If it's impacting the ocean, it's impacting us. We're also water. But we also have not just the moon. We have all the other planets. There's energies, very specific magnetic, gravitational energies. They impact us. They don't determine things. They're not going to make your boss fire you or make your wife leave you or make you fall and break your ankle. But they're going to create auspicious times and inauspicious times. For example, if you live on the ocean and you like to go out for a morning walk and you cannot swim, An astrologer could look at the chart of that day and say, between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. is a very inauspicious, dangerous time to go for a morning walk. Not because the stars are against you, but because it's high tide and you can't swim. It doesn't mean you're going to drown. It doesn't mean you're going to die. It doesn't mean disaster is written. It just means this is a time to be careful. Pay attention. The energies of the universe are in a way that it might be challenging for you. Maybe this morning take a walk into town rather than on the beach. So allow a good astrologer, not a random, like, sit on the street, take your money and, pull the wool over your eyes type of astrologer, but a good Jyotish who knows what they're doing. Let them read your chart. Let them talk to you about what challenges you might be going through, how long it's going to last, what might be auspicious steps to take. They help us understand things. But it's also really important to remember that our own actions are the most powerful impact on our destiny and on our fate. And when we give up, when we say, oh, it must just be in my stars, we're abdicating responsibility for our lives. It's not all pre-written. We are here as active, conscious, hopefully, co-creators of our own destiny. As I was saying in Arti just last night on World Futures Day, this minute and this moment is the pre of that which is predetermined for us, predestined for us in the future. Whether an hour in the future, a month in the future, a year in the future, what we do right here, right now, is creating our future. So if you're going through a hard time, sure, if you want to understand it as your astrology, sure, you can understand it as past karma. You can understand it however you want to understand it. They all play a role. But the key piece is to say, okay, what can I do about it? What steps can I take to make this challenging situation a better situation? Because that's our free will. Wonderful. Yes. No problem. We'll take you right after.
Sadhviji, pranam.
Pranam.
I come from Chandigarh, Ashok Tandon.
Wonderful.
Going back to the question what you got and you addressed, a thought came to my mind and which gives me a question further. The thought was that perhaps to my mind and to my understanding, the Creator did not have perhaps a word like sex in his mind while creating the human body. Perhaps what was there in the mind, it may be a thought just coming, that love making for procreation.
Mm-hmm.
It means the marriage.
Yes.
It means the marriage, a bond of the people together. But a subtle message which one sees and which we see is very prevalent in the society, what is changing is the sex for ecstasy. And perhaps that brings the question, are we missing something in life? That is what the question said.
Sure.
Now, the question is, do we need to address this perception?
Okay. So if we're just having sex for ecstasy, are we missing something? And does this need to be addressed? It depends what your life goal is. I'm not the life goal police. If your life goal is just have as much fun as you possibly can, have as much pleasure as you possibly can, I don't consider myself the, spiritual police to be able to say, no, you are, you've got the wrong goals. You should have a goal of realization and awakening. Who knows? Maybe in this lifetime, your karmic journey is to just have as much fun as you can and leave awakening to your next lifetime. I don't know. I don't have the clairvoyance to be able to read into everybody's karmic journey. But I do know that if your goal is something higher than just fun and enjoyment and pleasure, then whatever we're doing, we have to be finding something in it that is deeper than just fun in the moment. And whether it's what we eat, whether it's what we drink, whether it's the sex that we have or don't have, where we go, what we do, the books we read, the time we spend on our devices. I mean, it then enters so many areas of our life, and it's the same question. Whether you talk about, sex for just ecstasy, or pizza just because it tastes good, or, video games because, hey, they're fun, why not? Either way, on all of these levels, if your goal is anything other than just to pass the time of your life having as much momentary pleasure and enjoyment as you can, well then, yeah, you got to think deeper. One of the core reasons, of course, that, as you say, the Creator gave us the act of lovemaking is for procreation. Absolutely. But I do believe that it was given to us for other reasons as well. And I know that that's slightly different from the really traditional religious view of it's only for procreating the species. I think if it were just for procreating the species, it wouldn't necessarily make us feel so deeply spiritually expansive and united. As physical animals, something just has to feel kind of a little bit good, and we keep doing it. The food we eat, the things we do. I mean, we don't need like high spiritual ecstasy in order to do something. It just has to be nicer than whatever we were doing. Chocolate cake tastes better than green beans, so I'm going to leave my veggies and eat dessert. It doesn't have to be like the best chocolate cake ever. Has to just be better than my green beans, and I'll take it. Sex didn't have to be made something that gave people such an ecstatic experience in order for us to do it. And I believe that the deep sense of ecstasy that people feel, I believe it really is to give people who might not otherwise have a doorway into even a momentary experience of, hey, guess what? You're not separate. Because for people who don't meditate and who don't pray and who don't otherwise have spiritual experiences, it may very well be the only time in their life where for even just a moment, they feel like they have merged with something beyond their physical body. And so I do think that there is a purpose beyond just procreation, but ultimately the goal is to take that yearning for a sense of expansion and union beyond just the temporary physical sensual experiences between two people, and to have them in a way that lasts longer, deeper, more powerful. So, yeah, it absolutely is something that we should be talking about. Is, oh, you like sex? Okay, great, no problem. And that feeling of union, of merging, of melting, of ecstasy, can also be had in ways where the ecstasy lasts a lot longer. It's the same thing with taking drugs. You know, there are drugs that'll give you very powerful spiritual experiences. Different types of synthetic or plant medicine that'll give you really powerful spiritual experiences. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. The problem becomes that if you want something that's going to last longer, be deeper, be fuller, be more complete, that you're not going to come down from, at the end of the day, you have to start meditating. And so whether it's the sex, whether it's the plant medicine or the synthetic medicine, either way, whatever it is, ultimately if what we want is something that's going to be more powerful, more lasting, more deep, more expansive, we have to start meditating. Yes, last question.
Namaste, Sadhviji. Sadhviji, it's been almost a year now. I have lost my son, the only son I had. And since then, my life have totally changed because he was the only son and I'm a single parent. So all my life, I was struggling to provide him good life and suddenly he's gone. So since then, I think my Shiva have hold my hand and I'm alive. And I have found a purpose in my life now that I want to do seva and I'm doing whatever bit I can and helping people without any expectation. I have a guilt and the pain is immense. I'm trying my best. Because I have never done meditation earlier, but since 1 year my life has changed and I don't know, still I'm trying, but I cannot forget him and of course I won't be able to forget him because he was a part of me. Yes. But this pain, all the time I keep on crying and then I go for my meditation, then I'm fine for a little bit, then again, back of my mind he's always there. And my main question is to you is, will this guilt will go, that always I thought I'll give him time, there will be time that we'll sit together, because all my life I have been providing him because I'm a single parent, and today when he's gone I'm all alone and I feel guilty. And I also feel that will his soul, will a mother's pray that will reach to him and he'll have a new life when we say in Hindu we have, the soul will have a new life.
Okay. So, first of all, I'm so sorry about the passing of your son. Guilt is something that I hope that you can leave right here on the banks of Ganga before you go. Guilt should not go home with you. It's a very natural, very normal way to feel whenever we lose a loved one. There's almost always some sense of guilt. I should have, I could have, if I had done this, whether it's specifically around their death or whether it's just, oh, I didn't tell them enough that I loved them. There's almost always some sense of guilt. And especially in a case where it was your son, and so you have a sense of, well, I'm his mother, and I should have, I could have. You shouldn't have and you couldn't have. He came into this world with a karmic journey that you played a beautiful, powerful, critical role in, but you couldn't change the work that he had to do. And that's really so important for you to know. Let go of that guilt. There is nothing you could have done to change the karmic journey that he was walking. He chose you. His soul chose you for this journey, for these years. If what his soul had needed was a different situation, he would have chosen a different situation. He chose exactly this situation, exactly you, because it was exactly right for what his soul needed in this birth. So tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the morning, we gather every day just outside these doors in our beautiful courtyard for yajna. I want you to come and join us for the morning yajna ceremony. And I want you to offer into the fire and then into Ganga that guilt. Just offer it. You're carrying baggage that you should not be carrying. Okay. Pain, sadness, that's going to go home with you. That's going to be with you forever. But it will shift. It will change. At the moment, it's almost paralyzing you. That'll shift. Give it time. The grief will always be there. When we lose a loved one, we're always sad. But what happens is we grow around the sadness. So the sadness stops being something that prevents us from living. It stops being something that prevents us from laughing or enjoying or being happy. It exists because his presence will always exist. And when you think of him, there will always be missing, longing, yearning, grieving. And that's okay. Around that, you will grow, you will expand, you will shift. And you'll find yourself someday laughing. You'll find yourself bending down to smell a flower. You'll find yourself looking up at a beautiful starlit night saying, oh my God, look at how beautiful the moon is. And you'll start to be able to find beauty and joy and laughter in life again. But it will take a long time, and it's not going to be linear. You may have a beautiful night of stargazing and then wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning in agony. That's going to happen for a while. Let it happen. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I get it. She's saying she's an artist, she's a singer, and when she's on stage, the singing takes her out of the pain. Absolutely. Wonderful. Sing more. Of course. Because distractions only work while they're distracting us. But it's wonderful. As far as distractions go, artistic creation and expression is fantastic because it's not just distraction, it's actually enriching. Sing as much as you can. Sing on stages, sing as you walk down the street, sing in the shower, sing while you cook. Write songs as you take a walk or garden or do dishes. But of course it's going to come back. Of course it's going to come back. Let it be there. Don't try to push it away. Just let it be there. But allow yourself also to keep growing. And when you have a moment that makes you laugh, laugh. Don't have the voice in your head go, how dare you laugh, you just lost your son. Because we also do that. How dare you be happy. The key to life in general and grief and loss in particular is whatever is there at whatever moment is meant to be there is exactly what that moment is meant to be. It will be grief, it will be anger, it will be fear, what's going to happen to me? I'm single, my only son now has died. It's going to be then laughter. You'll remember a moment. It'll be joy, it'll be gratitude, then it'll be anguish. Let it happen. You be the awareness. You just watch, here we go into anguish again. You start to notice it. You start to notice it even before it happens. I'm about to descend into anguish. Okay. The tears flow, they flow. You're in the middle of singing, you're in the middle of seva, you're in the middle of a conversation. The tears flow, let them flow. It's beautiful, it's perfect. Nothing for you to do. Just allow what is there to be there. Don't try to change it. But do keep putting one foot in front of the other every day. Continue with your seva. It is possible that for a while, seated meditation may be too difficult. As you say, when you sit to meditate, the tears come. You may find walking meditation somewhat better for a while. Do walking meditation. And then go back every once in a while to a seated meditation. Let the tears come, that's fine. But for now, let your meditative practice be one that's open-eyed. Walking slowly, barefoot if you can. Let the meditation take different forms. It may be a little while before just sitting with your eyes closed is something that's going to allow you to expand without anguish. Yeah, just keep walking the path. You're doing it exactly perfect. And just know that you're not alone. Reach out. Reach out to friends. Reach out to community. If you don't have enough, make more. Just really allow yourself to be loved and supported and held by others. Yeah. Beautiful. Have a wonderful rest of your evenings, everyone. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining online. And so much love to you all. I look so forward to being together tomorrow.